What up, peeps? It's your boy Pop Pop. So, today was a constructive day. Got my package off to Grindstone Ministries. Mimano Donecha Raj is going to take it to the post office. So, that's got a 1500 watt power unit in it. It's got a pair of professional walkie talkies. It's got a ham radio. So, a really good, start. And I got another box I'm working on. Filling up to send down there. Yeah. My thing with the government is if they want to really help, pure and simple, whenever an area has been declared a disaster area, U.S. mail going in and out of the area ought to be free. You just write an address, put it on a pallet, and boom, it gets delivered. No worrying about stamps or any of that other stuff. You know, the mail just gets delivered for like a month. Keep that up. But see, they've given so much help to the illegals and held back on the taxpayer. It's terrible. It's unfortunate. So I just wanted to come on channel and say hi. I ask that you keep praying for me. The pain in my shoulder after that spider bite remains at a steady 8 out of 10. I've used every kind of ointment and cream that I can think of on my arm. And it helps a little bit, but not much. And I don't like to use Motrin because of the potential that it can raise my blood pressure up. What's up, Camilla? So I've been staying up, haven't had much sleep. I had a salad today, and that was it. I haven't had much sleep or much of anything to eat. So I don't read Sanskrit, brother. I don't read Sanskrit. So I gathered that from the Sanskrit. I gathered that may have been Hindi or some other language. I know a little bit of Hindi, like Namaskar. Namaskar, bye. I'm from Washington, D.C., right here in what used to be the good old U.S. of A. And now it seems that another hurricane that's going to be called Milton is on the way. And the reason I was making the video was to give a shout out to the government that whenever an area is declared a disaster, they ought to give free postal service. Forgo all the stamps and all that other stuff, and just let people send their emergency care packages for free. Where do you get Captain's Birdseye from? Like Birdseye the frozen food or what? I always have kept my I've always kept my right eye shut ever since I was a child, ever since I was a young person. So I think it's defensive. I'm not sure the psychology of it, but I've always kept my right eye shut. There's nothing wrong with it, but I don't know. I can open it up for a little while, and I end up closing it right back up and looking through my red Terminator eye. My blood pressure is a little low this afternoon, thank God. So I'm enjoying a a cup of coffee while I talk to you all. So the weather continues to crank out these hurricanes. We need to keep people in prayer, like Luis Santiago of Grand Supreme News. He's got another hurricane coming his way. He lives in Florida. So, what's up, Davy? Davy Crockett. So, the pictures coming from Georgia. The pictures coming from Georgia are appalling. I mean, whole towns wiped down to the ground. One guy said parents tied their children to trees to keep their children from being swept away and drowned. That's some scary stuff. So, if you're watching the mainstream media news, you're wasting your time. You need to go to the internet and see the real deal of all of these people that live in those areas. I got relatives in Georgia, and I want to check on them in a little bit. I'm just putting stuff in a box, like soap and shampoo and all that, and then when the box gets full, I'll uh, I'll send it on down there. If any of y'all want to help out, my PayPal link is in the comments section. All I need is a little bit of jingle to buy to buy stamps and stuff to mail the stuff down there. Boy, this thermos is like from, I don't know where it's from. I don't know what that writing means, but it's great. It keeps the coffee hot all day long, and I mean hot. I like coffee. Jimmy Dore? Is it Jimmy Dore or Jimmy Dove? Davey, is that channel? Here's Jimmy. I've watched that one. Is that what you're talking about? Jimmy Dore. I've never heard of that name before. So, Jimmy Dore. That'd be like having a name like Guy Window. Let's see what it's about. Let's see. Let's see. Jimmy Dore channel.
Jimmy Dore channel.
Oh, it's a Jimmy Dore. It's a Jimmy Dore show. Left of the left. Are you talking like Bill Maher? Uh,
Steven, is that your new book?
Yeah. Look at this. I'm giving this book away this Sunday for free. This is 10 finger exercises. It will save you years.
huh.
Hey, come see us do stand-up comedy in Tempe, Arizona, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cincinnati,
Oh, he looks like
Burbank, and Honolulu.
he looks
Go to
like
jimmydore.com
he looks
for-
like Larry King.
So Tulsi Gabbard weighed in on hurricane relief.
He looks
He
like
said Huawei
he
2.0.
looks like Larry King.
What is it about our country? We won't take care of our own country.
So
It's called the end stage of a republic. Our government's completely corrupted, 100%. The honest people, they run out of there.
I'm gonna subscribe to that. I don't have time to watch him now. Thank you for that. I'm gonna sub to him and watch that. So he's a good person. So you know what amazes me about Bill Maher? Bill Maher goes on international media with absolute almost mushrooms growing off of his teeth and the dirtiest hair and the worst hygiene you could think of. And he wants everybody to take him seriously, you know, as a creator and comedian and all that other stuff. But sometimes it just backfires on him, you know. My thing is, you know, if you're a rich comedian and all that, wouldn't you have a way of making sure that your hair was clean and didn't have 5 pounds of Crisco in it before you went on camera? I mean, I get criticized. I've been bedridden for 6 years. You know, people say I need to sit up more and all that other stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love my YouTube family. What's up, Austin? Austin, 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 Austin. So, oh boy, that coffee's good. You know, you got to be more thankful, fam. I'm in Maryland and the weather's good. The weather's good. I mailed out some disaster supplies that you all helped me with. So Austin says he's relaxing and chilling. That's my thing, man. In the winter of life, chilling like a villain. And fam, don't get too zoned out about the election. It's not going to change anything. Orange Man Bad is not going to be president again. It's definitely going to be a woman. She's already been installed in the WH pro tem. Pro tem is the term. So she's POTUS pro tem. And 1 week she's Indian, and the next week she's African American. Oh, right. And her family celebrated Kwanzaa 20 years before Kwanzaa was even a thing. So I remember as a kid that Christmas, my father worked 2 jobs, and they had ornaments back then that bubbled. They were lights and they bubbled. They contained cleaning fluid, like at a dry cleaners, carbon tetrachloride. And then they got banned because children could put it in their mouth, and the thing would burst and all that other ridiculousness. I came from the generation where a child could actually own a GUN. I owned my first GUN when I was 11 years old. Can you imagine giving a GUN to an 11-year-old now? They'd probably cap their whole family. And when I went to Glen Echo Amusement Park, and you went to the SHOOTING range, they gave you a real rifle. It was a 22 short rifle they gave you. The real deal. And man, you took that thing, pa-ching, 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 and it left dents. It left dents in the targets. And man, it was wonderful. The only thing back then was it was white only up until 1968, which is not that long ago. So the beach, Breezy Point, white only. Glen Echo was white only. When I was a kid, I was never good with those shows like Amos and Andy. I was like, come on, man, nobody talks like that. Hello there, Kingfish. How you doing today? Hello there. That's such a shame. People like Louis Armstrong, who was a great horn player, and he had to, use that oh yeah voice. That was all a put on. It was what they called a minstrel character. And if you were black and you wanted to be in show business, that's just the role you had to play, like Rochester. Hello there, Mr. Benny. Hello there. And back then, everybody was called boy. If you pumped gas or worked in a restaurant washing dishes or you shined shoes or stuff, you got called boy. And my father had these real long, sharp fingernails, and he would come over and he would go like that on my head, and he would say, now I got your attention. I was like, Buck, you haven't bathed for a week. You already got my attention. Because my father took a bath every Saturday, regardless of whether he needed it or not. So, and he didn't use underarm deodorant. He got born again the last 3 years of his life. He became my best friend and buddy and confidant. And I would take him to Bish Thompson's or O'Donnell's, or it was called Blue Hawaii or Thunderbird. And he called it the poo-poo platter. It was pa'o platter. Had shark fins and all this other good stuff that you wouldn't wouldn't want to eat if you really knew what it was. Octopus and eel and snake and all that other stuff. And we would just be sitting there eating our shark fins and octopus and eel and calamari, whatever they call it. I thought it was pasta rings. I didn't realize that it was the cut up arm of a squid. Oh, yuck. And then I was paying premium money for it. So I miss my dad, man. When he got born again, God turned him totally around. And I dream of him now. And he's like 30 years old, jet black hair, friendly. I don't think my mother made heaven. When I dream of my mother, she's still old and sad and fat. And during the dream, something will happen. And she always says, I gotta go. I gotta go now. Very sad. We were sitting in a restaurant by the shore the last time I dreamed of my mother, and the water came in and rushed through the broken glass window and started to well up around our table. And my mother said, I gotta go. I gotta go. But she was a very sad lady. Right before she passed away, she locked herself in a room and played The House of the Rising Sun over and over again. There is a house in New Orleans. Over and over and over she played that song before she passed. I was with my father when he passed. God gave me the grace to be with him, even though it took a long time for us to be friends. It took a whole lifetime because I was estranged from him when I was 2 years old because my brother got burned terribly in the sun. And my father took Old Spice cologne and he dumped it in his hand and slapped it on my brother's sunburn. And my brother threw his sandwich up in the air. Wah! Screamed like an old woman. Ran out the room. My father said, come here, boy. I was like, no. Come here, boy. No. I'm your father. Yes. Come here, boy. No. I wouldn't have anything to do with him when I was a kid. Family, you got to give God a chance to work things out. Just keep on praying. Pray for that loved one. Pray for that one that hates you. I used to talk to this guy friendly at the scale house when I drove a truck. I brought him a Bible. He threw it in the trash and spit right in my face. He ended up committing suicide over a little problem, a little thing, and he offed himself. And the thing was, I was in the gym at my apartment complex. I didn't realize he and I lived at the same apartment complex. He walked up while I was on the weight machine. He started to say something, and then he stopped himself. I wish he had told me what was on his mind that day, that he was getting ready to hop off this world. I've always wondered what he wanted to talk about. He came up and then he walked away. So sad. So sad. Another time I was at the gym. Now, fam, this is an adult channel, adult chat, but this is pretty funny. I went to the gym and I was on the bench. I wasn't pressing that much. I was only pressing like 200 pounds or 220, something like that. and this very well endowed black guy came over to spot me. And I'm on the bench. I'm on the bench looking up at the ceiling, getting ready to press the weights and do some reps. And the guy was standing over top of me, spotting me. And he didn't have any underwear or jock strap or anything on. And his branch and berries was like 6 inches from my nose. You know, I thought a horse had come and stood over top of me. I was like, OMG, man. You know? So, in any case, I started to laugh. The guy didn't know what was going on. He was standing there with his arms out ready to catch the weights if I dropped that enormous 200 pounds on myself. And I'm there like this. All of a sudden I started, like that. I couldn't help it. I was laughing my behind off. And when I started laughing, my muscles all went weak. And I re-racked the weights. And I sat up on the bench. I didn't say anything to the guy. I went into the locker room and changed and walked out laughing. The guy must have thought that I caught a case or that I was racist or something like that. But man, I looked up and there was this enormous member just inches from my nose as he was spotting me. So I know now that there are locker queens. They call them locker queens, where the guys go to the gym and all they do is they shower and walk around the locker in their towel. They're absolutely advertising, you know. They never come out of the locker room, and they call them locker queens. But back in the day, I didn't know about that kind of stuff. So I went through a period of homelessness when Obama shut down all the car dealerships to save the U.S. auto industry, which he did. I got to give him credit for that. Had to be done. He consolidated Dodge and Plymouth and Jeep and Chrysler all into one to save it. And it worked. But I worked at the Dodge dealership, which went out of business. So I ended up homeless, sleeping in the dealership at night, okay? And going to the gym in the morning to shower. So I drive to the gym and I put my gym bag on the counter and I put my coffee, my delicious Baskin Robbins coffee on the counter, and I hear this nyet, 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 nyet. And long story short, I had put my coffee in the area of the automatic hand soap machine. So the machine dutifully topped off my delicious cup of coffee with all of this fluffy soap. So it was ruined. So I took my shower. I'm trying to wake up and all in order to get back to work in time before the dealership opens, because I still worked at the used car part of the dealership. We had some used cars left. So I come out of the shower and I'm sitting on the bench in front of my locker, and this guy comes up, and wouldn't you know it, his locker was right next to mine, and he puts his leg up on the bench and he's drying himself. And in any case, he gets out he gets out like this right guard spray, and I'm sitting and he's standing, and he's spraying his nether region with this right guard or whatever. And then he follows it up with this baby powder. And man, he is dumping that baby powder on his southern parts. And the right guard had gone onto the side of my face, and the baby powder was now sticking to the side of my face. And I looked like Boy George or a Kabuki character or Marley's ghost. I was like, come on, man. You soaking me with that stuff. And he looked at me like I was, crazy. And so I was like wiping my face off with this towel. And this guy who just joined the gym, he was like 600 pounds. No kidding. He was like 600 pounds of white blubber. And man, he was walking into the locker room, boing, yoing, 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 boing, yoing, 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 boing, yoing, like that. And he didn't have a stitch of clothes on him. And I was like, every place I would turn to look away, there'd be like a mirror. And I'd see him over here, and I would like cover my eyes. And then I would turn like that, and there would be another mirror with Mr. Boyoyoing, reflecting in the mirror. And I was like, oh man, you got to get like a queen size blanket and wrap that around you. Cover that stuff up, man. I almost, by the time I got out of that locker room, I almost had to go and have post-traumatic stress counseling between Mr. Boyoyoing and Mr. Right Guard spraying all of the Right Guard and powder on me, But I left the locker room looking like Boy George with all of this powder all over my face. And really, that was the last time I went back to the gym. I just decided it wasn't worth it. And I learned how to bathe in the shop with a washcloth and a bar of soap, and and that was that. And I went and I bought a hat that said security in great big silver letters. I bought a hat that said security, and I would wear it at night as I camped out at the car dealership, so that if they saw me through the window, they wouldn't think the place was being robbed or broken into. And then I printed up on my printer a fake security card, and I was the night watchman for the closed down Dodge dealership. And I spent a year and a half there homeless. I went to visit my relatives who have a 5,000 square foot mini mansion, 5 Christmas trees, and they deserve everything they got. They're millionaires, elderly couple. And she said I was going to be her sound manager for her international ministry. Never happened. And they gave me this camper blanket, little teeny camper blanket. There was like a 40 by 50 or 40 by 60 blanket. So if you pulled it up here to get warm, your feet got cold. If you pulled it down to your feet to warm up, then the top of you got cold. So all night long, I would sleep on the concrete floor with this little camper blanket. And I'm sure my sister probably asked my brother-in-law if I could stay in their basement till I got back up on my feet. And he told her, heck no. you know, I always was a straight shooter. I didn't get into trouble or anything like that. But my brother-in-law was always very critical of me, and he made it quite obvious he couldn't stand my guts. So I didn't press the issue about spending a little time in their 5,000 square foot mini mansion. But I really think that if I'd been allowed to stay in their basement, that I would have helped their ministry, go global and all that. But they go to a little church, and they drive in their lane and I drive in mine. I know I don't qualify to be part of their little clique, but I got my YouTube fam. So I got my YouTube fam, and I got the good Lord. Any case, fam, speaking of which, I have to have my afternoon prayer time and take my medicine. I always pray for you all when you say you want me to keep you in prayer, all of that. Shout out to Justin Johnson in New York. Shout out to Maria, New York's finest. I always pray that if anything happens in New York, that God will tell you in time for you to get out of the city. And I prayed for those of you that are depressed and suicidal and all of that other stuff. So I'm going to go. Remember, fam, nobody loves you like the good Lord. Always seek him first. Poppy Pops out.